Real Talk with Kike, I have placed the mandate on many shoulders, or will I say my shoulders, to bring my viewers and the rest of the public on the series on Real Talk with Kike. That I'll be educating them, but also provide direct contact narration to stakeholders, politicians, and of course leaders that will help the aims of affairs in the country, or in this country, Nigeria. And we are not relenting on our promises, and we have decided to bring another big wink to the disruption of Nigerian politics. And on this show today, it is time to meet another presidential aspirant who is ready, or will I say, who wants to be in Buhari's seat come 2023. And as a human rights activist and a pro-democratic campaigner, that's what I would like to refer him as. I feel that he was arrested by the Department of State Service for planning nationwide protest tagged Revolution Now, and to express displeasure against bad governance in Nigeria. And he was also detained for 40 days. I think it's important for me to actually chip that in time. Welcome to the show, Omoyele Sowore. It's a pleasure to have you on the lunch show today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon. Thanks for bringing me on your show.
All right, many thanks for that, for also agreeing to come on the show. So quickly, because of time, my first question to you is that Nigeria, or will I say Nigerians, are going through difficult times at the moment. So many challenges mounting on each and every one of us. And I would like to ask you, what do you want to offer Nigerians that is different from what other presidents or what President Muhammadu Buhari has given us? That's one. And I think secondly, I would like to know what your strategy plan will be, knowing that you are one of the presidential aspirants.
Again, thank you for bringing me on your show, and I want to say very quickly and succinctly that President Muhammadu Buhari hasn't offered Nigerians anything to write home about since he became the president of Nigeria since 2015, to the best of my knowledge and to the best of knowledge of a lot of Nigerians who are supposed to benefit from his leadership. None of the promises he made when he came to power has been fulfilled: to fight corruption, to give Nigerians a better economy, and to strengthen or ensure that Nigerians are safe and secure in their homes, on the roads, in their schools, and everywhere. None of these promises have been fulfilled. So I can say to you categorically that President Buhari hasn't offered Nigerians anything, and I can be quoted anywhere, any day, and any time. And I should say that when it comes to me, I have been running, this is my second time, and I was one of the persons who ran in 2019, and I wish Nigerians were perceptive enough to have voted for me in 2019. That the issues affecting Nigeria can be divided into several ones, but for me, the priority will be first and foremost to secure the country, to provide electricity, power, and fix the energy sector, to build infrastructure, to fund education, and eliminate or reduce poverty to the barest level possible as soon as I come into office, by providing employment for young people, also investing in critical sectors like healthcare, security, and providing a social security safety net for the Nigerian people by investing in supporting the weak and the underprivileged people of Nigeria. And I have stated this out in a document that was referred to as Paisa Heat in 2018 and 2019. All these things were stated. I traveled around Nigeria, 34 states, couldn't make it to the last two because I was not provided with security, even though I applied for it with the Nigerian police at that time. So I didn't go to Yobe, and I couldn't make it to Borno State. And I spoke to people in rallies and town hall meetings, and nobody has been able to fault any of these ideas. What they did was to take some of them, plagiarize them, and try to make it their own ideas. But let me also say that the country is so fractured today because people are demanding for a different country that fundamentally address or addresses the basis for existence of the country and of the constituents of the country. And to that extent, I would say before you jump on that I intend to bring about a brand new constitution for Nigerians. The constitution we have now is a fraudulent document put together by the military. It did not have the imprimatur of the Nigerian people. We need one now that can be called a Nigerian constitution made by the people of Nigeria and adopted via a referendum.
All right, sure. Nice to have you on the show. In 2019, when you contested, one of the things I took you up on was the fact that you had pushed for upping the minimum wage from what it was to over 100,000 naira, and you gave several reasons owing to how robust you thought the Nigerian economy is. With the turn of events economically in Nigeria, the turn of events generally, and we've seen really a great turn of events bringing the economy to the south, taking it downwards. Do you still think that raising the minimum wage will be a thing for you as a mantra if elected?
Yes, I am not dealing with the statistics given to you by economists. I'm dealing with the statistics of survivor, that there's no Nigerian worker that can live off of a minimum wage of 30,000 naira. The easiest way to look at it and to break it down to our level is to look at how much everybody needs to eat per day if you're a worker. If you eat 500 naira food, I don't think it can take you to work and back. So let's assume you eat 1,000 naira, you're starving yourself. That means in 1 month, you will have spent your entire salary on food alone. How about medicine? How about transportation? How about rent? How about your children's education? And we do not have in any part of the welfare for workers provisions for social security safety net for these workers. So at this point, and with the value of the naira highly devalued and devastated, I think it's about 600 naira to a dollar today. I don't think we should even be talking about 100,000 naira. How do you expect a policeman who is going to protect you to earn 100,000 naira a month and you don't expect him to carry a gun and waylay you and extort money from you? Is the reality that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the living wage. And that living wage for me has to progressively be addressed if we want to have a society in which you can call workers, not slaves.
Okay. Mr. Sowore, it's good to have you join us on this program.
Thank you.
I heard you talk, and I think Nigerians are just bedeviled with a lot of rhetorics. So we're talking about you're going to do A, B, and C. My question to you now will be the how. Where are these funds going to come from? Saying that presently, the present day Nigeria is so indebted. So where will the funds come from to carry out?
Thank you very much. Nigeria is indebted to bad habits and irresponsibility. It is not indebted to those things that will make life better for the citizens. I give you one strict example. The body they call AMCON. AMCON is the body that is responsible for buying out loans, from bad loans from banks, taking them over, and ensuring that they go after the defaulters. What AMCON 1 did, AMCON was the first time it was started. I think it was under the Yaradua Jonathan regime. Whenever it was started, I cannot recall now, was to absorb the loans, bad loans of 150 irresponsible rich people in Nigeria. They bought all the loans of them. They took over the loans. They went after some of their assets, but they were grossly undervalued. During AMCON's existence or work, it found out that one rich man had used a bridge built by the government as a collateral for his loan. Several of them did not. But where I'm going is that AMCON 1 took over 4.3 trillion naira worth of debts from Nigerian business rich people and absorb it make sure that they give them a fresh leash of life. And now they are back. They are back with their private jets. They are buying houses. They are sending their children to good schools. Whereas our 100,000 as of 2018, 2019, if paid to workers as minimum wage, could have only led to 1.7 trillion naira more added to the wage bill of the country. You tell me, who would you rather invest in? The businessmen, the so-called rich people who went and bought private jets, lived lives that they couldn't live, fake lives, that Nigeria had to take over their loans, or the Nigerian workers who are toiling 5 days a week, who want to send their children to school? Which one would you rather do? I give you another example. Recently, the NNPC, on its own, imported bad fuel. Vehicles were ruined. Several damages were done to businesses. And what did they do? They told you and me, that they're going to spend millions of dollars to clean up the fuel that they imported wrongly into the country. The fuel they knew was polluted before they brought it into the country. So I will give you one last example, because I know you need to go further and ask more questions. It was that we found out in 2019, and obviously after that, oil companies, the national oil companies, were owing taxes up to $62 billion that they had not paid to Nigeria to today. Mr. Femi Falana wrote a letter to the Attorney General of the Federation, wrote to the President, wrote to everybody that we should collect at least some of these taxes back. What is our annual budget? Maybe around $50 billion. And here you have IOCs, international oil companies owing Nigeria. They did not deny it, 62 billion. If I'm president, I would like to get my 62 billion naira, invest into the country. I can pay ASU with that, because that's more than a year budget for Nigeria. Can invest in education, invest in infrastructure, monies that are legitimately owed to you. Because if you're the ones owing the oil companies $62 billion, they will shut your economy down. But here they are owing you. So there is money. Our problem is that, like I said, we have bad habits, and also we have incompetent people in place, people who are compromised, who are in bed with those who are responsible for this rot, who don't want to invest in the country. And each time you ask them to do something good for the Nigerian people, they tell you, where would you find the money? But where do you find 14 million naira per month to pay a senator, but you can't pay 100,000 naira to workers? These are legitimate questions that we must answer, and keep pretending that, oh, there's no way this country can function except workers suffer, except Nigerians settle for less. I'm saying that time is over, and we have somebody who has figures, facts, to speak to these issues in the interest of Nigerian people.
Many thanks, Omoyele Sowore, for all your submission thus far. And talking about being compromised, I feel that our insecurity levels have reached unbearable heights, and those terrorizing us have become emboldened. I must ask you, what's your outlook to tackling insecurity and putting an end to this insurgency that we have in the country?
So, first, I must say to you, and this is something that may be hard to accept, but it's true. Before you can secure a country, you must have a competent commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Nigeria is missing in that arena. And secondly, you also have very, very incompetent army generals leading a war of survival and existence in Nigeria today. I am not the one who has been saying it alone. 3 days ago, Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State was saying that they have enough intelligence, they know where terrorists and bandits are located, but the army refuses to go there. Last week also, a member of the House of Rep, I don't remember his name now, said that he spelled out how much had been spent over 4 years on the Nigerian army alone, and the lowest was 400 billion naira. And out of that 400 billion, maybe they were spending like 62 billion every year on capital projects. At this point, it has reached 500 and something billion naira. What are they doing with it? They are buying motorcycles and refurbishing them and reprogramming them to go and fight terrorists instead of buying armored tanks. These generals need to give way to competent hands in the military. As a matter of fact, because of the corruption that is happening in the military, they have refused to promote over 5,000 junior officers because generals love this war because it is their biggest way of making money. Over 5,000 officers who are supposed to have promoted, their promotions are stalled. So you have an army or security forces that are just subjecting its cadre to harm because of corruption. The same thing applies to the Nigerian police. The Nigerian police has been reduced to carrying plates for wives of politicians and their side chicks, whereas they are supposed to be in charge of the internal security of the country. I live in Abuja. You go to Maitama, Wuse, and all these Asokoro, you have 6 police officers guarding the front door of politicians or very influential people. They are supposed to be fighting crime on the street. They are not doing that. So a proper handling of our security agencies, proper investment in training, motivation, and welfare of these security agencies, and flushing out of the bad eggs will improve security by over 70% immediately. But you have to have a commander-in-chief who can command anything at all, not the one that's lame duck now for over 7 years.
Apologies, Marshall. Quickly, before we go on a quick break, I want to quickly ask you this question. I would appreciate if you can answer in 1 minute. As an activist, you have mentioned that when you get into the presidency, you will free political prisoners and go after the corrupt politicians like Saraki. This you mentioned in the past. And I would like to ask you, do you think that that language, the choice of words being used sits well with those in power now? And do you think that the current system will actually allow you when you get to that corridor of power?
We have been using words that sit well with corrupt political class since 1960. Where has it taken you? It is time now to tell them the truth so that they know what to prepare for. I am here as a person who has been detained for several months. By the way, to correct you, I was not detained for 40 days. I was detained for close to 5 months, and I didn't see sunshine. I was in solitary confinement for most of the time I was detained. So saying that the justice system will catch up with those who have been changing the Nigerian people is not wrong choice of word. It's just telling the truth and letting them know that the notice is there when the time comes for them to account for what they did with our resources. And there's nothing wrong for a country to recoup his stolen wealth from those who stole them, considering the fact that they have physical assets that they can't explain. And it is not just wrong to give back to Nigerian people what was taken from them. Choice of words is not a problem. I think it's choice of action that has been Nigeria's problem. Tilting
towards insecurity, Omoyele Sowore, insecurity may be pressing for more in Nigeria, but what affects everyone is the economy, just like one of my co-hosts asked you earlier, especially when it comes to the financial downtown in the country, unemployment as inflation, food shortage is also killing every Nigerian right now. So I would like to ask you, how do you want to revive our economy with all of these challenges that is facing us from different sectors?
So the economy is not isolated from the insecurity issues. I think there was a report in the newspaper today that said categorically that over 27 states in our federation.
Apologies, Omoyele. We have a caller from Plateau State. Please go straight to the point because of time. Many thanks for calling. Hello, Chiamaka, can you hear me? Apologies, I have to let that go. Omoyele, please go ahead, please.
So the insecurity problems the country is facing is helping to bleed the economy as well. You're spending money on fighting the bandits, terrorists, and organized criminals at all levels. And you're spending less in developing infrastructure, investing in health, education, and all those cool areas. But the most important thing is that you cannot have an economy, and I said this in 2019, I'll say it again. An economy doesn't exist at all. You have not started if you don't have a solution to the power problem. What I mean power is electricity in particular, to give it a more robust as you call it, energy, the energy sector. You cannot build an economy with 2 hours of electricity in only about 70%, in less than 30% part of your country. It's not going to work.
Apologies again, Omoyele Sowore, I have to interrupt your line of thought. We have Ademola from Lagos calling in. Many thanks for calling. What's your contribution on the topic at hand? Please go straight to the point. Yeah, Ademola, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Please go straight to the point.
Yes. Please. Sowore is a good candidate if Nigeria will listen to him and work with him. I think we need on that it. We need more people who can deal ruthlessly with these people. But if Sowore can stick to what he was saying, that he will deal with all these bastards, because I can call them bastards. They finished Nigeria. They finished everywhere, economy-wise, security-wise. Nothing is working. But if we can team up with Sowore, I can pinpoint what he was saying. That is when they get there, we not turn to another thing. Because it's one thing for him to come to the station and be giving us all these details. Getting there to perform is another case entirely. But for me, for now, I think Sowore can fix what we are doing, can fix what we are facing now. So.
All right, many thanks, Ademola, for your contribution. I would like to plead with all our callers that will be calling in today to be conscious of your choice of words. Omoyele, the floor is open for you. Please go ahead.
So I was talking about the economy. So you cannot have an economic system working when you don't have means of employment. You're not producing, and you can't produce. You don't have energy power fixed, because even the small businesses that is helping Nigeria to thrive now in the in the informal sector, they rely largely on electricity. But how do you compete if you are making textile, for example, with the Chinese, who are also making textiles now, but have electricity, and you have to rely on diesel? And diesel at this point costs almost 700 naira per liter. It's impossible. And this is why we're saying that those who are managing the Nigerian economy don't understand how economies work. And they are more interested in reeling to you figures as to why things don't work or would never work. But the truth is that there is no economic system that works without a political economic agenda or policy that prioritize life and the welfare of the citizens of the country over just ordinary statistics. That's why countries that are functioning are different from the Nigerian state, whose economy is totally dictated by the World Bank and the IMF and several others out there who don't even care about you. And we're saying that if you fix power as a priority in your first 4 years in Nigeria, where you can take the output of the power sector from 1,500 megawatts that you have now to at least 24,000 megawatts that they did in Egypt over the same period of time with Siemens, that we tried to sign a contract with that was never implemented for 3 years.
Omoyele, I need to quickly ask you this question because I know my co-hosts are also waiting on to ask you more questions. We have seen how the Ukraine-Russian war and COVID-19 combined have caused major disruption and setback in the global supply chain, affecting the revenue of crude oil and gas in the global market. And I would like to ask you, do you still hold the belief that marijuana is better alternative than crude oil and gas today?
If what is better alternative?
Do you still hold the belief that marijuana is a better alternative than crude oil and gas in the world, in the challenges that we are facing in the global market today?
You are talking about cannabis, which some people call marijuana, some people call it hemp. About a few days ago, the U.S. finally legalized marijuana. And it is expected that they make $100 billion just from licensing alone in the U.S. The population of USA is about 350 million people. Nigeria's population is over 200 million people, if we believe the figures that has been bandied around for a long time. So a city alone in the US, I think Denver, Colorado, is making over $1 billion every year for marijuana. The Ondo State government, the state where I come from, has to go to Abuja every month to beg for federal allocation, assuming Ondo State, which grows some of the best weeds, Ondo, Ekiti, Edo, Delta, is able to make $1 billion extra. If you multiply that by 580 naira, imagine what they will be walking away with. And you have licensing opportunities. I'm not saying that oil is, weed will be better, but it is clear that oil is going out of business, and weed has just entered the business of revenue generation for countries. When I was saying this in 2018, by the way, people were mocking me. And imagine now, almost all the countries in the world, including those countries that have very strong religious convictions, have legalized weed, because weed, cannabis, or hemp, as you call it, has so many uses, medicinal, that we shouldn't wait in Nigeria for them to be imposing and importing their weed to us before we start making use of our very great weed from here. The same way our oil is the best in the market, the sweet crude as they call it, it's probably the way our weed, our cannabis, will be the best in international market. And those who were mocking me at that time know better now. So that's the very, very super income generation. Even the NDLA says every year that they burn down over 1.5 trillion naira worth of cannabis. That's stupid as far as I'm concerned, where you can convert it to money. Why burn it? And now, underground, NDLA grants licenses to people who are processing weed for medicinal purposes. Go and find out. So we're there already, and the better we capitalize on that to provide local employment, international revenue, the better for us, and regulation as well.
All right, Laolu, many thanks for holding on for that long. Laolu, please go straight to the point.
Hello.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay. The person like someone like Omoyele Sowore, one of the good people that can lead this country. But one of the major challenges I consider is as in for him to achieve that. What if a bigger platform, let's say the PDP or ADP, really admit to join them, at least to fly the presidential ticket? Thank you.
Approached by the two major parties, APC, PDP, if you'll be willing to join them, then I'll take my question. I hope you got that right.
Yes, I'm not willing to join them because these bigger platforms have been sold to the highest bidders, and they've also sold their soul. I cannot imagine myself appearing carrying a flag of a party that stole $16 billion meant for electricity, or another party that has legitimized corruption, same as the old, and also legalized banditry and terrorism as of today. And by the way, what is the difference between APC and PDP? All the major positions in APC was recently taken over by former PDP operatives. So we have to go in a different direction at this time.
Omoyele, something fascinates me about you, your person, in the whole race for presidency. The fact that, and I'd like to pick your brains on that, the fact that you've been someone that's been clamped down on, you're from the media angle, then clamping down from the government, the revolutionary angle, the clamping down as an activist, and then you've been detained, incarcerated. I'm just wondering what goes through your head that if you gain power, or if you gain that seat of power, what you will do to change the absolute power given to the presidential authority to clamp down on media houses, media practitioners, and activists like yourself?
You know, that's the advantage. Clamping down on me did not start from 2019. Most people didn't know that I spent 6 years at the University of Lagos because I was expelled twice under Babangida and Abacha. I was attacked using cults. So I understand fundamentally what is human rights and the way and the need to preserve it. And I'm a living witness to the kind of unconscionable abuse that media practitioners face, because I get attacked on a regular basis by trolls, by individuals, by government. I get litigated against just for things I didn't even do. About 3 weeks ago, one billionaire set up the Nigeria police to arrest me for stories on Sahara Reporters. And I haven't been working at Sahara Reporters since 2018 when I decided to run. But they still victimize me. They don't go after the owners of the other major newspapers and TV stations and radio stations, even though they are privately owned. You don't go after the Director General of the NTA if they say something against an individual, but they target me. I'm their personal target. And having been targeted this well and so much, I understand what it means to be targeted. I know what it means to stay one night in jail, in a prison cell in Kuje here. I spent the night for an offense I didn't commit. They broke my nose. As you can see, the scar is still there. They shot me in this Abuja for attending a peaceful protest. And as you know, my younger brother was assassinated on the highway coming from school last year. So what haven't I?
Call on the line. Ademola, many thanks for calling again. Please go straight to the point. And this will be my last call for today's show.
It's a good one. I like all what the school is talking about. You know, we have to be people listen to that can lead us rather than listen to believe in us. This is a good thing. The good thing that is talking about.
Mr. Sowore, I'm particularly worried about the educational sector. So I'd like to know what you intend to do about the educational sector as a presidential aspirant as we speak, and how you intend to, in practical terms, how you intend to speak to the minds of the youth to vote you into power.
All right, I apologize. We lost Omoyele Sowore right there. Hopefully, we'll connect to us before we go through our last segment of the show. But thus far, you know, and I think we lost him when he was talking about how his late brother was shot last year, and how he has been injured himself, all in the name of trying to peaceful protest. And I believe that should be part of our fundamental human rights in this country. And I feel that that's some of the challenges that we are facing today. Yes, I know that my host is calling my attention to time. Apologies, I know that we cannot go so far to banter on all they have shared thus far. But quickly, let's go to the last segment of the show, which is the trending stories. Stories that interest us, as Masha will call it, that binds us as family. And the first trending story that caught our attention is that of the Grammy 2022, where Angelique Kidjo, you know, defeated Wizkid, Femi Kuti, amongst others, you know. Masha, let me come to you quickly before I give my submission. What's your take on this? After I know there are quite a number of divided opinions on social media. What's your take on this?
My take is one more number.
Hey,
Angelique Kidjo, well, she's a lovely person with great songs that I love so much. And I've not been able to make a fuss out of Omoyele Sowore emerging tops in the ranks of in the likes of Wizkid, Davido, and the rest that she came up nominated for that position. I think for an organization like the Grammys, they must have gone through they must have done the right thing, taking the right steps to have had a personality like Angelique Kidjo, and for crying out loud, she's no small artist. She's no small artist. It's not about the private jets or the flamboyant life or the 30 billion for your account, Kike. It's about the career, the music, and I think the coverage, the mileage it gets. And Angelique Kidjo, I dare say again, is a great singer, if you ask me. So I'll give it to her anytime.
All right, many thanks for that submission, Marshall. If you ask me, I'd like to start by saying well done and kudos to all the artists who put Africa on the map and represent us well globally. And I think that they are doing a great job for the world to reckon with African music. And I feel that no disrespect to any of the artists, and I'm not mentioning names here because of the abundance of people involved. I want to say that majority of songs that we churn out today in Nigeria have no real value. They are not evergreen songs, and that's my opinion, and I stand on that. And the fact that they are mostly about honey, Connie, Shake Bom Bom, and the likes. I just feel that I would like to take a cue from what Yemi Alade submitted or shared yesterday on the social media platform, where she summarized it all for me. Is the fact that we should listen to Mother Nature by Angelique Kidjo, and I feel that she also said that she should be celebrated Africa across globe, that it's not just about Nigeria alone, because of the uniqueness and the victims of the NSAS protest in Nigeria, and of course, more importantly, climate change. And I think that these are all the real challenges and problems affecting Africa today. When you listen to Omoyele Sowore share some of his challenges, look at how his late brother was shot, and these are the things that I feel that the world needs to understand, that the world is moving into content and value. It's a lesson for our artists and entrepreneurs. If you want to ask me, we should have a culture that we are not just going to be objectifying the women or talking about making money, or how will I put it now, living all this extravagant lifestyle that has promoted our young ladies into prostitution, if you ask me, that has promoted Yahoo boys and ritualists. And those are the challenges that we are facing today. You will hear every young person on the street will hear, oh, I want to blow. What's the meaning of I want to blow? I really do not understand, because they do not understand what consistency means. They do not understand that it's a step at a time. When you also listen to our guests today, this struggle has been many years gone. It's not just coming to the race to say that I want to become presidential aspirant. And I feel that those are the things that we need to look at today, if you ask me, when it comes to content, when it comes to value, rather than talking nonsense, pardon my word, when it comes to the songs that we put out there. Now, let me now put it like this, or conclude that I'm a fan of Davido when it comes with Wizkid, Burna Boy. No offense to anybody about their craft or anything, but I believe that they need to lead the Africa or Africans to a place where we will be well appreciated when it comes to our content, when it comes to even the fans, the highest fan globally. And I also feel that they can do better with content and value for Nigerians and the global audience, instead of always shaking bum bum. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty pissed off when I saw some of the banter that was going on social media platform. But I'm told that we have our guest back on the platform. Again, many thanks, Omoyele Sowore, for connecting back to us. But because of time, let's go on. What's your take, Antefo, on this Kidjo?
I'll dare say she's an icon, and for me, she replaces Mama Africa, Miriam Makeba. So she's if she wins, Africa wins. So all right. Many thanks for that. I think let me ask Sowore quickly. Sowore, what's your take on this trending story? I don't know if you heard us when we started the last segment of the show. Did you hear that?
Angelique Kidjo, Imagine Grammy Award winner.
All right, I think it cannot connect to us. So the second trending story that caught our attention also is that of the religion and politics that is being played by the Imam Sheikh for criticizing Buhari over rising killings. Antefo, let me come to you quickly. I'm hoping that we would have connected the audio to our guests, because I would like to hear his submission on this. What's your take on this?
I would say that Sheikh Khalid has spoken his truth. He's a Nigerian. And I don't think anyone would be more Nigerian than he is. He's not a young boy. He knew when Nigeria was working, and he knows now that Nigeria is not working. So he has spoken his truth. And I dare say, if this current government, they do not like criticism. I don't know what they're afraid of. Do you understand? We see the killings going on in our country. Never in my entire existence have I seen Nigerians slaughtered. Slaughtered. Even chickens are not slaughtered the way Nigerians are slaughtered.
All right.
And somebody comes out to speak his truth. He didn't only address the government, he addressed the homes, the parents, the homes, that everything he addressed. So why did they single out the government?
All right.
These are the closest people. The clerics are the closest people to the ordinary Nigerians. Since our government is not accessible, the poor ones go to them. They hear from, they know the pains that the people go through. So he was in the best position to speak on this issue.
All right, and so for many thanks for that. If you ask me, I don't see anything wrong in what Sheikh Nura said. You know, I think that the problem with our country today is who will, you know, bail the cats. If you ask me, you know, no one is ready to take responsibility, even to lend voice against the oppression and injustice, and people are being bullied into silence, and that is also part of the challenges that I've seen with our guests today. So for how long we will continue like this is a question that comes to mind. You know, why is it that when it comes to our Muslims, you know, they are being sacked, you know, because I feel that the GO speaks against the government every day. Pastor Oyedepo, Pastor Tunde Bakare, the list goes on. You know, Nigeria doesn't belong to one person, and this is the reason why I feel that they unpick people to place in the corridor of power today, because of all the things that we are facing today. We don't want them to speak. They don't, you know, they really don't want people to speak against them. They don't want people to lend their voice or to tell them that they are wrong. There are many imams around the president, I feel, that should have called the leaders to Buhari to action, to call his attention. But if these people if they keep telling him that, oh, what he's doing is good because they are paying lip service, perhaps we won't be, you know, things will keep getting worse, and that is the issue that we are facing. However, I like the fact that he was given another appointment. He said that the pulpit is where the cleric like him can talk to the public and make difference. And the imam himself, one of the things that I like or appreciate about him is that he's very articulate, you know, and he's well read. I like the fact that he lent his voice in the shenanigans going on in this country. And I feel that most times when we hear the Muslim, what comes to mind is that they are illiterate, they are uneducated, or they are terrorists. So seeing a Muslim lending his voice, you know, and in that place where you expect us to actually embrace, which is part of the foundation that we are talking about. But quickly, Omoyele Sowore, what's your take on this trending story that caught our attention? Hello, are you there? Okay, I think we lost Omoyele Sowore again. We cannot. Okay, we cannot hear him. With that, Masha, what's your take quickly on this story?
You know, and I stand strongly behind what both of you have said. And the good thing is he's gotten another appointment, and I hope that he continues to speak against the ills in government, and hopefully he doesn't end up, you know, being
and I think he intends to.
But
he intends to, because
strongly behind him.
Thing,
we need more of those.
History is going to vindicate him. History will be kind to him.
All right. Apologies. Sowore, quickly, can you hear me? This will be the last message from you. Hopefully, can you hear me?
I need to call.
Omoyele, can you hear me?
Okay, he can hear us, but we can't hear you.
Okay, he can hear us, but apologies, we can't hear him. I think that we've come to the end of another edition of Vows of the We had an awesome show today, courtesy Omoyele Sowore. Many thanks for honoring my invite.